natural bleachers, and then
Watch a game.
use the field for playing games. So we want to get it all cleared, ready for the fucking tattoo gathering, so we can do a lacrosse game and a social dance and a fireball game here.
Nice.
And do the tattoo up there on the hill. Put the consoles up there. Up there on the hill, 2-story building, 200 feet long, overlooking this field.
So that's what they got to clear out?
Well, the trees along the bottom, but this whole field here, all the way along the edge of the trees, and then up to the top of the hill on this side, and then a driveway all the way out to where that telephone pole is, because we got to cut it, and then at the end, we'll cut it down in and bring the gravel in. I was a kid, so there was several land claim negotiations that came to like an end, where land got transferred back to our community in the late 80s and early 90s, and this was one of those properties. I can't actually remember what they called it. I want to say it was called the Latchford and McTaggart lands, but it might have been called something else. It was a big farm, and it was leased out or something, and then they just claimed it, right? But it never was actually sold, and so we didn't have it for something like 140 some years or something like that. Anyways, it got returned back. So when that happened and it became back part of the considered part of the reserve, the Longhouse people had a meeting with band council at the council house, at the current council house. Now they call it a community center, but back then that's what they called it. And that building was actually the third building that was taken, but that property was seized by Indian Affairs, and they took that land, took that away. That was where the traditional, like the cheese council was there. That's at the council house. So we went to that place and we had a meeting, and the Longhouse people told the band council that they were going to take these lands and use these lands for the Longhouse and for the use for a cemetery and so on. So then the band council said, well, okay, we can, you just mark out however many acres you need, 2 or 3 acres, however that is, and we'll set that aside. And the Longhouse people told them that they needed all of it, not just a couple acres, the entire thing. They're going to need it for the sugar bush, and for maybe they might have a game place for play games, or it might be a place for put cornfields in, or whatever. So they were taking the whole thing, and so that's what happened. And then people started work on trying to get a Longhouse built, and get a road in, and get a cemetery set aside, and all those sort of things. And so that's what happened. Worked away at that, and then there was so up on the top of the hill up there's a hole dug where the cookhouse was supposed to be built, and then right beside it, coming this way up on the ridge, was where they're supposed to put the Longhouse up. There's a ridge up there, and my Uncle Gene had brought a big bus that they were using as a thing to work out of, like a tool shed and whatever, and we would come up here and do ceremonies up here. I remember having strawberry and green bean and that sort of stuff. I have the ceremonies up here, and people gather up here, and that was what it was like when I was a teenager and a kid here. And then what happened was, it was taking forever. People women got. And I don't exactly remember this happening, but I remember people talking about it. The women were bickering over what kind of building to build, or what should be in the cookhouse, and they couldn't get agree on it, and so they never got around to getting the buildings built. And finally, what happened was the people had a meeting, and they passed it, and they put it on the men's council that was going to get there, and the war chief. They said, just get the Longhouse built and get a road put in. So that's what we got agreed to. So okay, so we're going to do that. So we had our couple of meetings, and then there was a couple of bank accounts. There'd been fundraising going on for like 25 years, and so there was quite a bit of money, expected to be quite a bit of money in those accounts. So all fundraising that had been going on. One account was supposed to be quite a bit smaller than the other one, because that was the one account was used for, like, when they had meetings or when they were going to have a feast or something like that. They'd use that one to buy stuff with. So it was more like the using one, and the other account was set up with 3 signers, one from each clan, and that one was supposed to be like the savings account. So that was this one was have significant more money on it. Well, anyways, what happened was we asked for the records, and when we got the records, the one lady, the one account, there wasn't. She gave us the ledger. There wasn't very much. It was might be a couple $100 in there or something. I don't recall, but it wasn't very much money. And then the other, but it was all accounted for. And then the other account, a couple of the signers for that account had died, and so there was only one signer left. And when we approached her about it, she told us that she had closed that account and transferred the money from that account into her personal bank account. And then when we asked for the record, then we wanted the record of it. She told us that she wasn't going to disclose her personal bank statements and bank records to the people. So she stole from the Longhouse. She stole from the people. That was what happened. And so then we had to deal with it. And so what happened, the result of that was the Longhouse never got built yet. And then later, people that were supportive of that lady, they left and they built the Longhouse somewhere else, and their own personal thing and their own personal land, and not the actual council. So this spring, after the COVID stuff was going on, and people were talking to me and saying we want to do something and need to get something happening or whatever. I said, well, it got passed and put in the well, and it got passed for the. We just got to get to get the Longhouse up. So I said, well, I guess we, in lieu of the fact that we strung a new Mohawk Nation council fire and kindled the fire, we need to have a council house to have council in Mohawk Council. So I thought, well, it's hard to have meetings right now because of COVID. People are not wanting to get together in longhouses and stuff. But at least that's how it was. We decided that we would we build it again. We get it done. So we've been actively working on getting it organized and get it cleaned up and get the Longhouse built up here. So that's what we're doing. That's what happened up here. Yeah, that's the story.